Hey guys, welcome back to my little corner of the internet. Today I'm going to be talking about my thoughts and feelings regarding the new Obi-Wan Kenobi show, episode 1. The episode opens up with the events kind of leading up to where the show begins, with all of Obi-Wan's kind of past, starting with episode 1 all the way through episode 3, including a little bit of Order 66. And that's kind of where we start out with the episode. We open up with a shot of Coruscant, and kind of leads into a youngling training session. And right away, the clones just walk in, start blasting. Order 66 has begun. A Jedi leads the group of younglings through the chaos, and she is gunned down. And that kind of, opening scene, we go back to Tatooine. As you all know, that is one of my favorite planets. Not. A crowded outside market is disturbed by Sith Inquisitor ships flying overhead and landing. Out walks the Grand Inquisitor, followed by the third sister and the fifth brother. As they look for the fleeing Jedi, they enter a bar as the Grand Inquisitor kind of looks around and deduces that there is a Jedi present in the bar. And he starts interrogating the bar with a speech, kind of really stirring up the fears that people have, about them just being there and everything. And he wants people to confess that, who the Jedi is and where he or she is. And right as he kind of is handing over to kind of point him out, the third sister throws a dagger at the bartender, causing the Jedi to use the Force to stop it. As they corner the Jedi to capture him, the third sister swings her lightsaber with the intent to strike him down. The Grand Inquisitor stops her with her lightsaber still kind of searing the Jedi's skin. He gets away, pulling down a canopy to stop them from pursuing him, and it seems like the third sister, through all this, is just really trying to get after Kenobi more than this single Jedi. Apparently she has some, beef with him. Alright, here's where we get our first look at Obi-Wan. Seems like he's working as a butcher, cutting some meat, as a day job. He still has to earn credits while looking after Luke, because, he has to eat and stuff. So, he's doing that. He finishes his day, kind of collects a little piece for him. As he's, in line to collect his credits, a man in front of him is only given half of his day's pay. He's bullied into accepting it, while Obi-Wan just kind of stands there and looks sad. Which, I get it. He has to stay, a little low, because, he can't expose himself as a Jedi and always fight everyone else's battles. We see him riding a transport back to the town to get his little, I'm probably butchering this, Yopi? It's a little camel-like creature. It turns out he's got that little slice of meat for him, and he returns home. He does his thing as he gets home, making food, relaxed from his day, as a little Jawa walks up and gives him a little toy T-16. Now, if you notice, little T-16, Luke Skywalker had one in A New Hope as, a little toy he was kind of throwing around, having fun with. Anyway, he barters with the Jawa, giving him credits. The Jawa pulls out what looks like an old Jedi belt, and I believe they say it is a Jedi belt, and he's just kind of acts the fool, just, oh, I don't know, Jedi are all extinct. After that, we see him kind of dreaming and kind of not really sleeping too well as he dreams of the duel on Mustafar, the events of the prequels, and he wakes up in a stir, very unrested. And at this point, he just kind of says out loud, Qui-Gon, he's barely asking for him. Which I thought the whole point of him going to Tatooine to watch Luke, he also had some kind of training from Yoda.
In your solitude on Tatooine, training I have for you.
And I'm really hoping we get to see Qui-Gon's ghost in this, or at least any kind of Jedi thing. So far, he's been chilling, not really doing a whole lot. Like I said, I do understand he has to lay low, and he doesn't want to show that he's a Jedi to the normal people. But I mean, he's in solitude. He should be meditating or doing something, to keep his powers on the up and up. After this, we end up on Alderaan, where it looks like a very young girl is getting dressed by her helpers for some big old fancy event. Breha Organa walks in and, kind of in a fuss, says they're going to be late, and realizes that the little girl dressing up, which is supposed to be Leia, is in fact a decoy. Little bait and switch action. And now Leia is running through the forest as the free little spirit she is. When she's in the forest, she watches ships come and go, kind of saying the model of each one out loud. Her mom catches her as she brings her back inside, we kind of pan out to a mysterious man watching from a distance. Back to Kenobi, he's just doing the same thing, cutting meat, giving the meat to his little Eopie. After a work day, Owen shows up and throws a little toy T-16 he gave to him earlier at his feet, saying that, he doesn't want anything from them. You're just more trouble than you're going to cause. They kind of argue about, well, Luke needs to train in the Force when he's ready, which is kind of weird because so far he's been so concerned about not showing that he's a Jedi to anybody, but now as soon as Luke is showing any signs of Force ability, he wants to just instantly jump in and train him. To me, that just seems weird, and he flip-flopping on Kenobi's character a little bit. I think, if he's going to stay secret the whole time, I mean, we know that he doesn't train Luke until Luke gets his butt beat by some Tusken Raiders, and he finds him in the desert. As Owen Lars and Obi-Wan are, kind of talking, the Inquisitors show up to where they are. They're still looking for that Jedi from earlier. Now, the fifth brother is offering rewards, like monetary kind of stuff, but then the third sister interrupts with threats of violence, saying that we're going to cut off your hands, so every time you reach for something, you'll think of us. One of the citizens starts talking a little bit out of order. She gets her hands cut off just like the third sister said, as she looks to Owen Lars and starts making threats towards him. She, interrogates him, saying that, she'll kill him and all of his family if he doesn't get up for the Jedi, which he just basically says, I hate Jedi, they're scum, I don't like them. Which, I will say that's one thing I do like so far. I think the actor who is playing Owen Lars, which I think his name is Joel Edgerton, if I'm correct, I think he's doing a fantastic job as Owen Lars still. I think he nails the kind of like, roughness of him, even the roughness from like A New Hope and stuff. Really good. I'm enjoying that part. Yeah, as all this is happening, though, Obi-Wan is just kind of like in the back, sitting and cowering in the stables, just not really doing anything. Which, I mean, again, I get it. He really can't, but it's so disheartening to just see Obi-Wan just kind of cower, not really do anything. Like, he was this great Jedi who would, I don't know, he's smart enough where I think he could figure out a way to do it and not get caught, He's a smart dude. The fifth brother isn't really too happy with third sister at this point, and she just says that Kenobi owes her something. So we're gonna see what. Hopefully they explain that. I mean, there's only 6 episodes, so hopefully they do. That'd be nice. With this character, I'm really only feeling like there's one level to her, and that's it. And it's just anger, and that's all it is. I know the story is gonna involve her a lot, and so far I'm just really not that impressed with her. I mean, I think the Grand Inquisitor so far is a better character, and he's had less screen time than her, so I don't know. But we are only in episode 1, so that could be me just nitpicking. Back to Alderaan. They're doing their little fancy meetup that they were getting ready for before, playing royalty, waving at people, going to fancy parties. And at the party, we get this scene of Leia, talking to her cousin, and her cousin's just kind of being very mean towards her. And the way she speaks, for me, is just, it's a little too adult. She's supposed to be like 10 years old, I think. And, I get she grows up to be a very smart, witty, princess and all that, but her being like that when she's young is boring to me. It's just, she's like this her entire life. There's no growth. She's just like that instantly. Okay, boring, move on. And that's nothing to say with the little actress that's playing her. I mean, she's so young, bless her little heart. I just don't like her writing. Her, I have no problem with. That's fine. After the party, where Leia's cousin was insanely rude to her, we do get a nice scene of Bail and Leia talking about, the future for Leia, how she's going to be a senator, even though she doesn't want it, which anyone who does not want to be a politician usually are the best ones, because they're not craving that status for power. Is more because they actually want to change things. And at this point, Leia knows that she's adopted, and that was the one thing her cousin was being pretty mean to her about, but Bail Organa reaffirms her that she is in fact an Organa, and that she will always be one. After this little talk, she runs back into the Force, as she does. The mother gets worried, sends a little unit after her, to bring her home. Leia ends up running into the guy that we were talking about earlier that was watching from afar. And it turns out to be Flea from the Red Hot Chili Peppers. Now, this is just a nitpick of mine. It might be fine for everyone else. But when they put these really big name celebrities inside these like Star Wars universes or whatever universe, it really throws me out of it. Because I'm already just like, oh, okay, I'm in a fantasy. This is a sci-fi thing. Cool. But then you see like a real life person that not know, but you recognize for being this musician or this thing like that. I'm not saying he did a bad job in it, not at all. It's just it always takes me out of it, just a little bit. So anyway, Leia runs into him, and this starts the worst chase scene I've ever seen in my life. I think this is comparable to in the Book of Boba Fett where that dude like did the spin move and shot. This chase scene is just as bad. Not as corny, just bad. It honestly reminds me of me chasing my little kitty through my house. Because it's so slow, and she's, bless her little heart, she's running as fast as she can for being, tiny with legs like this big. It's great. But when they run, they're just like, I'm gonna get you, kind of thing. And it's ridiculous. After that insanely ridiculous chase scene, they end up catching her. And we go back to Obi-Wan just kind of sitting there staring at a rock, not really doing much. I don't know what he does in his day-to-day life. Obviously no Jedi training of any kind. As he gets a call from the Organa saying she's been kidnapped. Originally he does refuse the mission saying, this isn't the same, he's not the same person, to find someone else. As he, after that he goes back into town and sees the Jedi hung up in the streets. Because he's not really hung like you would think of traditionally, by the neck. He's just kind of like, has like ropes around him, and he's more like suspended than anything. Which, I'm assuming he's dead, but I'm assuming also because it's Disney that they're not going to show blood or anything like that. We'll see. After that, he goes back home and is surprised to see Bail Organa waiting for him. To give him a little pep talk on why he should, help save Leia. And he ends up taking the job, goes in the desert, he digs up his and Anakin's lightsaber, which, he leaves Anakin's there, takes his with him, and puts him on his belt. He goes to the spaceport with the lightsaber on his belt, and just leaves. And see, that's another thing, because he puts the lightsaber on his belt, which is kind of just, like, out in the open. I thought he was trying to hide him being a Jedi. Like, the writing for him, he flips back and forth a lot between whether he wants to be a secret Jedi or if he's just going to kind of like show it off. I don't know. It's either like, yeah, it's right here. Here's my lightsaber. Like, no, I can't even talk about it. Like, which is it? Like, I don't know. So that's where episode 1 ends. He leaves on the transport to go find Leia. For the first episode, it was kind of boring. Like, I get it's the first episode, but again, these new shows are only giving us 6 episodes to work with, and I think they need to get the ball rolling a little bit quicker so more can happen. I don't know. I hope Obi-Wan gets out of his little slump, because it's depressing to see him as a sad boy. I don't like it at all. I will say the musical score is wonderful. It actually it really does do well putting you in the scene, like kind of putting you in the mood of, how the episode is flowing. I did like that a lot. I mean, I could definitely see how a lot of people are entertained by it, for sure. It's just, I wish there was a little more to it, But yeah, we'll see what happens in the next episode. Thanks for tuning in. See you later. Peace.